So, affiliate marketing done right is a lot different to what you see online. Now, you can't just post an affiliate link in front of someone and hope they just buy. Let's first look at your audience before we worry about things, like traffic, affiliate products, or commissions. You need to know, like, who are you actually trying to reach? Really important. And I think this is where people, might go a little bit wrong. They think that their goal is to build, like a big audience, but big doesn't necessarily mean good. Now, the audience has to have like something in common. They have a problem, a desire. They're trying to get a result, in something, and they are finding, like a way to get there. And that, for me, is the audience that you want. So instead of asking, "How do I get more people?" ask something like, "Who are the right people for me?" For example, let's just try and say that you're helping people who want to build, like an income online. Now, for me, that's still, pretty broad. So, but what if you're trying to specifically help the people, busy lifestyles, limited time, who want like a recurring income and are looking for a business model that that they can build around, of course, their busy lifestyle. So now we've got a much clearer audience. So who you're speaking to now, you understand what matters to them. We're going to understand things like their problems they're trying to solve, and also you're going to understand the results they're looking for. Now, for me, that's what makes an audience really, really good. So it's not really about like the people that you're trying to like reach. It's about the quality of the match between the people that you are attracting, and let's think about the problem that you can help them solve. And you don't need to know everybody. In fact, trying to appeal to everybody, usually I think it makes it harder to connect with anyone. So you're going to want people like hear you and think, well, that's me. That is the problem that I'm dealing with right now. And that's the result, that I want. So again, that is a good audience. So once we discover who these people are, I think the next part of the process is to think about what we are actually going to give them. And I think this is where content comes in. So content has one job. We're going to give the audience something useful, and this is where affiliate marketing can go wrong very quickly. So beginner, they find like a product that they can promote, and they start to think to themselves is, well, how can I get someone to actually buy this? But our audience isn't waking up thinking, I wonder what affiliate product I can buy today. They're morely thinking about their problems, and they are looking for answers, and they are trying to save time as well. Maybe make money, fix something, maybe learn something, avoid a mistake, or maybe just get a result in something. So this is what the content needs to address. If you can help someone move closer to the result that they want, then I think you're going to give them a reason to pay attention to you. So of course that is really, really important. And of course, we've got plenty of ways we can do this. So what can we do? We can teach, we can explain, you can compare different solutions, you could answer common questions, you could show people how to avoid mistakes, you could simplify something that people find very confusing as well. So the format doesn't matter near as much as the value, and here's the important distinction. So content is not the offer. Your content just got to help someone, and the offer is going to come later. So this is important, because if every piece of content feels like like a sales pitch, people quickly learn that you're not really here to help them. And that brings us to the next part, because giving someone useful information is one thing, but actually getting them to believe you is something else. So is your content worth listening to? So this brings us to the next part, and that's trust. So trust isn't something you ask for. It's something you got to earn. And in affiliate marketing, that's really important. And why? Because eventually you're gonna like recommend a product to them or service, and the person watching has to decide whether they believe that recommendation. So look at these two situations. Someone you've like never heard of before that tells you to buy this amazing product. Now you probably don't really care. Now imagine someone you've been following for a while, and they've also been very honest with you. They've explained things very clearly. They've admitted when things aren't right for them. Um, they haven't tried to sell you something like every 5 minutes. and then they recommend a product because they believe it can solve a problem that you actually already have. Now, that recommendation carries much more weight, and for me, that's trust. And trust comes from consistency, honesty, transparency, and actually doing what you said you was going to do. So obviously, that's very, very important. This also means you're not recommending something simply because it pays more. Sometimes the best recommendations might not be the one with the biggest commissions. If it doesn't make sense to your audience, don't recommend it. Because one bad recommendation can damage trust you spent like months building. And this is why value comes before promotion. So, you're not trying to squeeze a bit of commission out of every person that you see. And you're trying to build enough credibility that when you do recommend something, people, are willing to consider it. But there is a problem. Even if you got the right audience, useful content, and trust, people still, have to find you. And this is where traffic comes in. So traffic is obviously how people are going to find you. And there isn't one traffic source that's right for everyone. So yeah, you could use things like YouTube, Instagram. What we got? We've got TikTok. We got a blog. We got Google search. What else? We got email. Loads of things. We've got podcasts, paid advertisement. There are plenty of options out there. And different traffic sources have different advantages. Some rely heavily on organic discovery. Some allow you to pay for an immediate reach. Some are built around search. Some are built around social recommendations. Some are built around an audience you've already developed. Like what could it be? Like email. You don't need all of them. In fact, if you're trying to build, like an affiliate business around a busy lifestyle, trying to master every traffic source at the same time can have, I feel, a massive distraction. So pick one that makes sense to you, learn how it works, get good at it, and give it enough time to see if it works for you. So YouTube might be your choice. It might be something else. Now, that's not the important part. The important part is having a reliable way of getting the right people to discover actually what you're doing. Getting people to discover you doesn't automatically mean they're gonna buy something. So this is where the offer comes in, and this is where you connect a person's problem to a solution. And there's a simple way of going about choosing like an affiliate offer. Don't start by asking what can I promote. Start by asking what does my audience need. Now, if you already understand your audience, you already know the problem that they're trying to solve. Now you're looking for a product or service that helps them with those problems. And so basically, that's the connection. Now, problem, we've got solution, offer. That's the way we got to go. If, for example, you imagine someone wants to build a business online, but they're struggling with a particular part of the process. Now, if you found a product, service, or a training program that helps them with that problem, you introduce it. You're not trying to force a product into the conversation. You're providing another option, and that difference matters. So I feel, that good affiliate marketing isn't about convincing someone to buy something they don't need. It's about helping the right person find something that can solve, a problem that they already have. And if they decide to purchase through you or your affiliate link, well, that's where the commission, comes in, which is obviously good. So the commission is actually the simplest part of the whole model. So someone sees your recommendation, they decide the product or service is right for them, and then they're gonna purchase, through your affiliate link. And then the company, pays you a commission according to, their terms of the affiliate program. That's basically it. I want you to notice where the commission sits right at the end. So you didn't start with a commission, so we've got to start with the audience. Then you create value. Then you build your trust. Then you got your message in front of people. You connect to the right person to the right solution, and the commission was basically just a result. Now I think that's an important shift in mindset because if you start with how can I make a commission, you can easily end up promoting things that don't make any sense. But then if you start with how can I help, how can I help the right person solve the right problem, that business becomes much more natural. So, and there's one final piece that determines whether this becomes a real business or you're just trying to do something for a few weeks. and that is your long-term thinking and consistency. This is where I think the whole idea of passive income can create, unrealistic expectations. People see affiliate marketing and they think, I'll set everything up, post a few links, and eventually, the money will just come in. So that's not normally how it starts. It's going to be some work involved. You have to learn, you have to test things. We have to improve. We've got to find an audience, and then you just got to keep showing up. So the potential advantage is that something you work on today can produce results later, tomorrow. A piece of content can continue attracting people, an email sequence can continue working, and useful resource can continue helping people as well. An audience you build doesn't just basically disappear every time you finish working for that day. So that's where the long term opportunity comes from. But you have to give the system time to develop, and this is why consistency matters more than constantly chasing the next opportunity. You don't need to start 5 different businesses. You don't need to try every new traffic source. Also, you don't need to change your strategy every 2 weeks. If you're busy, simplicity becomes even more important. So choose your audience, choose what you're going to help them with. Choose a traffic source, then keep improving. That's much more sustainable approach, I feel. Now, if being affiliate really interests you, why not have a look at the free affiliate masterclass? In here, you can learn, how to create a recurrent affiliate income, in 60 minutes a week, which is really, really good. So if that's something that interests you, just click the link below this video. And of course, it's free to join. So now, once you understand this basic business model, there is another question that we need to answer. Why do people still fail even though they know what they're supposed to do? So that's what I'm going to be covering next. So watch 5 reasons why beginners fail at affiliate marketing, and really, really good video. And also number 5 is a mistake that you really don't want to make. So I will see you over there.